Good morning. It's getting fresher every day. There's also a dampness. I'm not sure if that was a shower or just condensation or whatever it's called that happens in the changes of temperatures and humidities. We're off to a new day. Thanks be to God. A new time. New light from the darkness. There is the sun visible. I think that has to be cloud. I don't think it's the, well, maybe it is the fringe of the Moab plain. Otherwise the cloud would have to be very, no, it has to be cloud because, you know, we have the marker here, the cross on top of the Lutheran tower of the Redeemer Church, the lower lying tower here. The Franciscan one is much higher from our perspective and also sitting higher. And the mountains of Moab are on the level of that cross on the top of the mount of the tower. So I think that has to be cloud, heavy cloud that delayed the appearance of the sun. I was thinking, I wonder if we get down to the other end here of the roof of the terrace, that we will be able to line up the Dome of the Rock with the sun. Not quite. Oh, look at all those birds. Doves. We want lots of doves of peace. At least lots of peace from the one dove. Yeah, it's almost lined up. Not 100%. Tower of the Ascension on the left, and then we have So I was thinking of calling this morning's live streams Kitchen Conflict. And how we all need Arabia. So I'm just playing a little bit with the readings today. So in today's reading, we're in Bethany, right behind the Tower of the Ascension there, probably a straight line from here. The road would go beside the Our Father Tower, which is just to the left of the sun disk. But the direct line would probably be behind the Ascension Tower to get to Bethany, which is... Actually, I walked from here in a power walk from our gate down here with the guy who was younger than me but quite a bit heavier and not as fit back in the day. And we walked to Bethany and back in 57 minutes. Can you believe that? Is that possible? I think it was 57 minutes. So it was really a power walk. Oh, I might be mixing up some figure, but it was like an hour. It was around an hour, but I actually think it was under an hour. It was a real. At that time, the wall wasn't closed between Jerusalem and Bethany. It was free access, and so that's quite a while ago. And so that's where Bethany is. And that's where we have the kitchen conflict, today's reading. And then we have Arabia. And actually that's a solution for another conflict. Because Saul is telling his story of his own conversion. And that means he's recounting the incident on the road to Damascus. And he gives a summary of the next few years. But what he does is he takes off to Arabia, which is the desert, which is a very lowly populated area, which is isolation, which is time alone, which is time to process, because in his heart there's tremendous upset. His whole life has been turned upside down. He would later give a summary statement saying that everything that I had treasured before I count as garbage. Maybe today we'd say we count it as trivia, we count it as trivial, we count it as nothing, as dust, as to me a complete reevaluation of his life, of what he had valued, and how he needed to build the foundations of his life, to rebuild them, to recast them. There was a lot of continuity, but there was a tremendous amount of upheaval. And he had to sort that out. And we know from all of his letters and his communications that he was, a very passionate character, very determined, very strong-willed. We saw that in the opening salvo in his letter yesterday to the Galatians. And so that type of character doesn't emerge one day and be gone the next day, and will never be gone. It'll be a constant. So he's a very, very engaged person, and now he's been totally turned on his head, and he's processing that. And that's an interior conflict for him then, an uprooting and a replanting. And sometimes we would desire, obviously, that we'd never have to do such a thing, that we would never have to, that we could always have our status quo, that we'd go to our work, we'd walk through the normal gateway, we'd drive to the garage, we drive out, we get on the train, we go where we're going, we know where we're going, we do what is expected of us, what we expect of ourselves. We're in the midst of the trains and the bustle of life, but we're busy, we're distracted, we keep going, we have our things, our plans. But we all will go through moments of quite some upheaval, because that's the nature of life in this world. Jesus came announcing the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is near. The kingdom of God is with you. The kingdom of God is within you. There's also another kingdom, the kingdom of this world, and this world's priorities, and worldly measures of success, worldly measures of value. And they're different. And these two are coexisting uncomfortably with each other. And sometimes there's showdown. And this is what Saul experiences. So he has to go to Arabia. I went into Arabia. And 3 years later I went to see Peter. Cephas, the rock. And I remained with him for 15 days. And this was in Jerusalem. So Paul came here to Jerusalem, and here we are in Jerusalem. And now that the temple was still standing over there where we have the Dome of the Rock. There's dispute academically about the exact position of where exactly it was standing. So Paul is here in Jerusalem for 2 weeks. Actually, 2 weeks ago today I came to Jerusalem as well with the circumstances. And he also saw James, but he didn't see any of the other of the 12. They were all scattered on their different routes and paths. I think we almost have the sun on top of the Dome of the Rock right now, but it's the light is competing. And then we have Jesus coming to Jerusalem as well, and now he's in Bethany. And he's with Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. And we have a conflict in the kitchen. And Mary is engrossed listening to Jesus. And Martha is busy getting things ready for the meal. Maybe she's short of an element and she needs to send out somebody to get it. Maybe the fire needs a little stoking. Maybe some things need to be peeled or diced or chopped up. Maybe some table dressing has to be finalized. A lot of interior desire to please our guests, especially Jesus. Both of them have incredible love for Jesus, as does Lazarus. And she's a little bit tense. And there she is, on the side of her eye, she sees Mary sitting down listening to Jesus. But Mary is also processing her life. And she's very engrossed and she has no idea what's going on in Martha's life. They're in the same kitchen. Maybe they're even only a meter apart at a certain time, given the movement of Martha moving around. And Mary has no idea what's going on in Martha's heart. Or maybe she knows there's a little bit of activity going on with her, or maybe she's just very engrossed. Some words that Jesus is saying are touching her heart and reminding her of things, or also resetting her values. She's feeling very encouraged, very, very fed, very nourished in the conversation. A lot of light for her mind. Her heart lifted up, strengthened. My dad used to use a phrase, one half of the world doesn't know how the other half of the world is living. And it can happen within a kitchen. One half of the kitchen might know what the other half is living. And all of a sudden Martha explodes. Jesus, will you tell her to get up and help me? Tell her to get up and help me. We shouldn't be afraid of conflicts in the kitchen. They will never be eliminated. They will always be there. There'll always be different personalities, and we will not know what's going on in their heart and their mind. And we have this beautiful psalm that can help us. Guide me, Lord, along the everlasting way. When somebody has an outburst, we also need great respect before their person, because we've no idea what's going on inside them. We need the encounter with the other. It's easier to live on your own in your own kitchen with nobody telling you what to do. You dice the things you need, you set the table you want, you cook the food as you like it. You don't have to encounter the other, but you don't grow as much. There is the vocation for hermitage. There is the time in Arabia when we're alone. There's also the time of encounter with the other, seeing the needs of the other. The person of prayer needs to take into account the pressures that's on a mom with little babies. The person of activity needs to realize that other people need a space of quiet, of meditation, of time. How to live together, to share space, to respect each other, to help each other. Family life, everywhere, in every city, in every people, in every religion. The great blessing of encountering the other from little babies until adulthood and old age. May your encounter today be blessed, even if there's a conflict in the kitchen. May it be a time of growth, refining values, discovering the other, helping and supporting and well-wishing everybody, also on our planet Earth, as we encounter each other. A great culture of encounter. God bless you all. Thank you for participating.